Welcome back to Jurassic
July
here on the Face the Ace YouTube channel on the Ace2Face Podcast, and it is essentially the finale. We are covering Jurassic World Dominion, the final entry in this sequel, soft reboot type trilogy, however you want to phrase it, but I couldn't think of a better guest. He is the biggest, Jurassic monster movie fan, in general that I know. We got Ben, you know him as Shock Wrestling as The Guard, but welcome in, Ben. Glad you're finally here, dude.
Glad to be here, Ace. So I guess we're going to discuss the last of the trilogy of the Jurassic World movies.
This is a weird one because as I've been, going through this journey and discussing, memories I've had with the movies, this one is so recent in my head. This came out, only a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I remember, when it first, when the trailers dropped, I was so excited for it. I remember I was at work, and I was so mad I couldn't take off that day of work, but they had a double feature playing at, the one theater not too far from me of the original movie, and then you saw Dominion on, a Thursday. I'm like, oh, I really wish I got to do that.
This movie... Definitely. So it's weird, right? Because this movie has parallels to the Star Wars sequel trilogy. You had the first movie that was kind of rejuvenate the franchise, kind of soft reboot, but it's definitely a sequel. And then
very very similar plot points. Force Awakens was New Hope, and then Jurassic World was sort of similar to Jurassic Park.
Which, revisiting recently, I like Jurassic World a lot more than I did, years ago. It's been 10 years, so it was the first time in 10 years since I've seen that movie, all the way through.
I was also rewatching it, and I always loved it. It's my second favorite Jurassic movie. I think it's the best sequel, and rewatching it again, I thought, was I nostalgia blinded? Was I just too excited to see it? And I just rewatched it. I'm like, no, I still love this movie.
It holds up, which gets me confused about this third movie, because then, we have Fallen Kingdom. It's with a different director. Colin Trevorrow did not do that one. And, mixed reception, personally. I love Fallen Kingdom. It's my favorite Jurassic sequel. And
I enjoy Fallen Kingdom. I don't hate it. I legit think it's a fun movie. That is. And I think, if we get more into it later, we'll talk about the whole cloning storyline and stuff. And I think Dominion kind of picks up better on that storyline.
Yes. And yes, we get to Dominion. Colin Trevorrow returns. So same pattern as Star Wars, with the original director returning for the third. Did he return to this because he ended up leaving Star Wars? Is that why he came back?
I believe so. I don't remember off the top of my head. They asked him. I think they asked him to help write with JJ with Rise of Skywalker, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, because he wrote that, Duel the Fates script that's leaked and, everybody goes crazy for. And so that never happens. Yeah. But he does, go into this. And I think it got a lot of people excited for, fans of the first Jurassic World. It could have been a return to form. And you had the announcement that the OG trio was coming back. The Jurassic Trinity, you could call them. Alan Grant, Ellie, and Ian were all coming back together. We were going to see him on screen again. Were you excited at that prospect?
Oh, yes, for sure, because I wasn't sure how they were going to work them into the movie, and I honestly liked how they worked them into the movie. I know people complain about the locust being a big plot point. It's this movie's not about dinosaurs and stuff. It's no, I think the locust makes sense more than, people would have complained if they, bioengineered smaller dinosaurs to eat the crops and stuff. I think the locusts make way more sense if you really think about most plagues and stuff in old-timey tales were plagues from bugs and stuff. So it makes a lot of sense that the locusts were involved, and Ellie and Grant basically met up because they're well, we need someone that knows these things better than I do.
Right.
So, and then Ian Malcolm was the inside guy, and I'm this all makes sense.
Yeah, I think I have a big hot take about Ian Malcolm, but so you told me there was an extended cut, and that got me a little excited because I wasn't really the biggest fan of this movie when I left the theater, so I was excited to see what this extended cut could do. Now, You're definitely more the expert on this. What did they actually add to the extended cut? Because I know the opening, of course.
Yeah, the opening definitely. The only time you actually got to see the opening in a theater was if you went to Fast 9 and an IMAX showing.
And you know what, Ben? With the openings happening, and I'm like, why do I remember this? Because I saw Fast 9 in theaters. The only reason I saw Fast 9 in IMAX is because I just wanted to watch that opening in a theater. I remember it like a memory opened up. I went with a friend of mine. She just wanted to see a movie. I'm like, screw it. Let's go see Fast 9. And I saw the sneak preview of Jurassic World because we just so happened to see it in IMAX. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was like the only time I was like willing to go all the way to a theater that's a bit further from me just to go see it in IMAX, just because I wanted to see the Jurassic World preview.
And it's a really good preview. And then
yeah, no, that was such a good way to open the movie. And I was sucked that it got cut from the theatrical release. And even Colin Trevorrow was mad about that too. Like, he said, that was how I wanted to set up the film. Yeah. And I feel like maybe if I had that cut released in theaters, I think I would have gotten not so much backlash and stuff. And I'm like, I agree. I think people would have liked the movie more if at least that scene made it into the cut.
The T-Rex at the drive-in and stuff is like, that straight up felt like, like OG trilogy vibes.
Yeah, that felt like a Spielberg idea for sure.
Yeah, that opening way better than this. And we still get like the news, video, essay, YouTube.
Yeah, which is fine because that's just the exposition you need for like to know what happened after Fallen Kingdom. And there's a
4-year gap between the movies, I believe, because I think Clone Girl.
I think it's like 4 or 3. I don't remember, but I know there's a bit of time passed.
Yeah, because that Clone Girl's like 10 years old or something
she's like a teenager at this point. So
it's so crazy how fast this trilogy goes, because you have Bryce Dallas Howard's character, who was like this top GM of a theme park 2 movies ago, is now living in the woods with Navy SEAL Chris Pratt with a clone girl. I imagine watching the first Jurassic World in 2015 and trying to explain to somebody what happens in the 3rd movie. There were only 2 movies later.
Right? Like it's insane how much time kind of like passed by in these movies, but I think it still works out for like what they wanted to do for the storyline per se.
I found myself, especially watching these movies, at the same time for once, I found myself liking Chris Pratt and Bryce more than I remember. Like, they had more chemistry than what I remember actually.
Yes, I agree. Especially like I was rewatching Jurassic World. My thing that that makes me mad about people is like saying like, oh, how does like Claire, like Bryce Dallas Howard's character, they're like, how does she like go from like being like this top like person that doesn't care about the dinosaurs, all she cares about is business, blah blah blah, and then like in Fallen Kingdom she cares about the dinosaurs. I'm like, did you guys not watch Jurassic World? Like that scene where she sees all the apatosauruses in like all that carnage and all them dead, and then like Owen is like comforting the one and it's like dying, and she's like just going up to them and kind of trying to comfort it too. And then she starts crying and seeing all that carnage. And she realized, I did this. I created this thing. I authorized this thing to be alive. And all these they're living things too. And I got to watch them die. And that was the moment where she cared. But she didn't have to say she cared. You saw it. Yeah. So a lot of people forget that scene. And I think that was a very powerful scene to show her character arc.
It's one of those things like, why can't characters evolve? Like, isn't that the point of trilogies? Like,
yeah.
Han Solo went from not believing in the Force in A New Hope to Return of the Jedi being like, oh, Luke's a Jedi Knight, I'm banging his sister. Like, characters can evolve.
Especially in Force Awakens when, like, Rey was asking him, was like, all the story's true? And he's just like, yeah, all of it. Like, the Force is real. Like, Luke and Leia changed my life. Like, he was just, like, telling Rey, like, yeah, like, everything you've heard is true. Like,
and I know there's a time gap, but when did Claire become such a badass? Like, I know she's been living with a Navy SEAL for 4 years, but man, she's like doing a lot of crazy things in this movie compared to the other two.
She does take down that one Dimorphodon in Jurassic World. Like, it was like true. On Owen. She like, yeah, she seemed like she could handle herself. I guess
she ran from a T-Rex in heels.
Yeah.
We know she's got
to be fair, Rexy wasn't running in that scene when she like summons the Rex. They call her Rexy in like some of the canon, I guess now, but she's not moving very fast in that scene. She's just kind of like stumbling. Like I think she was like asleep and she like was stumbling, and now you notice, oh, Claire wasn't really like outrunning outrunning her. She was just like kind of like shuffling along and be like, oh, I see it.
This evil agency is all run by Dobson, which is a callback to the original movie. Different actor for some crazy
good reasons.
Yes, and it's the so I recognize this actor from being Peter Parker's dad in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, straight up. I remember that. I'm like, dude, that's Spider-Man's dad.
That's all I know. I've seen him in other movies, but that's always the first movie I think of.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I can't even think of any other movies he's in, but I just remember like, oh, holy shit, it's Spider-Man's dad.
He's a solid actor, though. He's always one of those actors where he's that guy. You don't know his name, but he's going to give you a solid performance.
Yeah, like he's straight up always just some random character. And you're like, oh man, he's doing that character well. And you like would see him in another movie like, oh yeah, Spider-Man's dad's playing this character now.
Yeah, we had this 4-year gap, and now this. What is the actual goal of this agency? I was kind of confused by that.
Oh, what he wanted to do was have a monopoly on the food source, because if you remember, Ellie said that the locusts were eating everyone's crops besides the biosyn crops.
Okay. Oh.
And
I see.
So that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to control have a monopoly on the food and stuff. He was having Dr. Wu genetically engineer these locusts to eat everything, which a lot of people complained about, but it makes sense.
It was a clever way to write Ellie in, who isn't a paleontologist, right? She studies ancient plants, I believe.
Yeah, paleobotanist is what she is. So yeah, that was a good way to get her introduced to the story, and then she gets Dr. Grant because she knew Dr. Grant could help her out with like the locust problem.
I love the scene where Dr. Grant's got to do these tours because his funding dried up again. Every time we see Grant, he's just low on money. What is he spending? Does he have a gambling addiction? What is going on with Grant's money?
You wonder that too, but where did Billy go? Maybe Billy like stole all his money and left or something. Maybe they had to pay for Billy's medical bills at the end of Jurassic Park 3.
That always mind-boggled me about, Alan, Ian, and Ellie. You would think like either Hammond's company or the U.S. government would just let these people do whatever they want, like money-wise. Like I would give them everything so they don't like.
Yeah, they get compensated for something for almost dying like twice
from a crazy like experiment that was highly illegal.
Ellie at least had like a life going on. She was married and stuff. Well, she got a divorce. She might have got a lot of money out of that divorce because she mentioned she was divorced.
She was doing a lot of traveling and flying, no problem. She took a bug to probably a different country where Alan was just because she could.
Yeah. And plus, here's the thing: like she ended up more successful than like Grant and Ian. I guess is still successful, but like out of like of the three, she did the best.
Yeah, when it comes,
she didn't have to go back to an island and get attacked by dinosaurs until this movie, but still.
And honestly, I just enjoy watching Ellie and Alan talk.
Yeah,
there's something about those two and Ian like together, even watching it this morning, I was like, man, I could watch a whole movie about these guys. And like, it's weird that they were kind of shoved into this, sequel trilogy when it was, the Chris Pratt show for 2 movies.
For sure.
It almost made me wish, I don't wish the Jurassic World movies didn't exist, because I did like that one made the park open and everything. But a whole trilogy with these characters would have been really nice. I don't know if you caught the end of Jurassic Park 3, but when we were talking about, the Jurassic Park 4 that never happened with Ian and Alan,
the human dinosaur hybrids. And I remember like reading on the internet back in the day all about that. I was like, whoa, what?
It's
that was a crazy concept to me. Like
it's like looking up Spider-Man 4 stuff and seeing like carnage.
Yeah, like John Malkovich. Yeah, John Malkovich was supposed to be the Vulture and stuff. Like whoa, what?
Yeah, I like that scene. It's a cute little scene. The clone girl, I might be dumber than all the kids we have seen in this franchise.
I mean, yeah, she's the most reckless out of all of them. I agree. Like she's the most rebellious and just angsty out of all of them. Like she's like, you're not my parents, and like, this and that. Like I don't exist. I'm just like a clone.
All she has to do is not go over a bridge, and she sees Blue's it'd be daughter, right? Yes, because they're all female.
Yeah. Her name's Beta.
Which I thought was clever. And like just throw the bread at Beta. Why are you walking up to the raptor? You know Blue is probably near. Like countless times, Clone Girl made like an insane amount of mistakes, at least at the beginning of this movie, because, you know, it turns into a rescue mission. Blue's daughter, Beta, gets kidnapped, and Owen...
So does the Clone Girl.
So does the Clone Girl. Owen and Claire's daughter gets kidnapped too, so it's a rescue mission for both. The communication between Chris Pratt and Blue is so funny.
Oh yeah, like like he's like, I'll get her back, and then Blue's just like, all right, fine, and then she just leaves.
And so Blue just waits there, which I find insane. Yeah, like even
it would be even more insane if Blue just jumped in the truck with Owen and wanted to go see
like Han and Chewie.
Yeah, like she's like in the bed of the truck just waiting.
The Jurassic World stuff, like when you saw Owen Grady's character, you know, I understood that, like, you know, like a guy, you know, at a zoo who could tame, you know, tigers and lions and stuff. Yeah. But now we're at an insane level where they could just read each other's minds pretty much.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like it's like Blue just has like this mutual respect for Owen, because she imprinted on him. They explained that in Fallen Kingdom and also in World. So in a sense, she has a bond with him, but like I guess like they said, like raptors are about as intelligent as like a dolphin or like a chimpanzee. Mm-hmm. So I guess she just knows in a certain way that like Owen will go get her daughter back. Like she's not gonna be like Professor X, be like, Owen, please give me my daughter back.
And even before, and we'll dive on this into the extra stuff, even when they're in the woods and they're having the fake guys pretend to be what is it, Chris Pratt caught one of the dinosaurs, and then they were like pretending to be like marshals or whatever. It was kind of like a Western. I was kind of into that. I'm like, oh, it's like...
Yeah, no, me too. I liked him like wrangling the dinosaurs, and he had like those like deputies with him. I love that Native American guy on the horse. He was kind of cool.
They plant interesting like side plots that never like fully flourish in this movie, you know, where it's like, that was like my one problem with the movie, but I think like especially like the black market dinosaur stuff, they like touch upon that more in the Netflix series. Right.
And I enjoy the Netflix series. It's more for a younger audience, but I think it's worth like watching.
Yeah.
Because they actually tackle some like pretty good plot and like serious like things like that can happen to like actual people, like PTSD and like losing someone and all that stuff. Like it was really interesting that the show, even if it was more meant for a younger audience, could talk about like serious things like that.
Yeah, I had no idea the show was that like connected to everything. Like that sounds super interesting.
Like the first season is like basically the events of Jurassic World's happening in the first like season, and the kids get trapped on the island. Some of the events from like Fallen Kingdom happened in the I think like the second season, and then like this season right now basically is following like whatever it was like the same time as Dominion. Like it's going on the same exact time.
That's interesting. It reminds me of when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to do that during phase 1 of the MCU.
Oh yeah.
They
did a good job with the whole putting in Captain America the Winter Soldier tie-in with the whole Hydra twist. That was like so cool.
And then that whole thing's cool, and we go into that black market stuff, which was another really interesting thing. And you got me interested in the show, because if the show dives into that, it's, you know, it's like Star Wars, right? The underground Tatooine stuff we all find interesting with the bounty hunters and stuff. And this kind of I never thought that there'd be an underground Jurassic World, because you kind of just forget how big the world is, especially with how grounded these movies have been up to now.
Yeah, they gotten a little more sillier, but I'm like all for it, honestly.
Oh, at this point, we're like 6 movies in. Yeah, let's...
Yeah.
You gotta get
a little silly, it's fine. And then like, there's like the whole scene where Owen's like, Owen and Claire are walking around that black market, and they have like all those cool puppets and stuff, and like the underground like dinosaur fights and stuff going on. They added that scene where that Lytrosaurus Allosaurus bites off the oviraptor's head.
I
like
love
that
that
scene
scene.
was that was in the extended version. That's not in the theatrical version.
Okay, because I remember that dinosaur existing during the fight, and it was just chilling there. I thought that scene was so funny. The dinosaur reminded me of a bulldog. I always wanted a bulldog when I was a kid. I loved his vibe.
The Lytrosaurus. I love that little guy. He's my hero. I always joke he's my hero. I love that scene where he bites the guy's sleeve. He's like, oh. I also love the scene that cracks me up is when Owen falls in the pit and it looks at Owen and just goes, huh? That scene breaks me every time.
Man's just vibing. And now knowing that he just like decapitated another dinosaur makes it even better.
Yeah, exactly.
What were the two dinosaurs that broke out of those cages?
That was an Allosaurus and a Carnotaurus.
They reminded me of the ones that were in the Disney dinosaur movie.
Yeah, that's the Carnotaurus. It's the same exact dinosaur. Yep.
The
antagonist of that movie. There's a Carnotaurus also in Fallen Kingdom. You see like two of them in Fallen Kingdom.
And that fight in Fallen Kingdom I read was supposed to be the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah, and they cut it. They cut it because they just didn't have the. I think they just wanted to go a different route with it.
I'm all, my biggest gripe with Jurassic World, the first movie, is I don't care about the Indominus Rex. I want to see ones that existed because I know there's so many we haven't touched. So continuing to see new ones that did exist. I don't know. It's more exciting to me personally. The Indominus.
Oh, I can agree.
It's cool, but it wasn't for me. Like, that's not what I want to see in these.
I don't mind the Indominus for a few reasons. Like, rewatching it, I think the Indominus was just a cool idea for a villain because she was like contemplating her existence and just killing things and just trying to figure out where she fits in the food chain because she's never seen like anything outside of her cage. So she's just this is like my oyster here, and she's just like destroying everything. Like she doesn't even know like what she is or anything like that. And then you got the Indoraptor, who was like, oh yeah, I know what I was born to do. I am enjoying this. Like I was bred to be a weapon. Like this is my calling.
What do you think of
that dinosaur? That dinosaur literally was like a psychopath. It's like, what if like a gun became sentient? That's what happened to the Indoraptor.
What did you think of the whole laser pointer raptors that we see?
Oh, it is a dumb idea, but it like makes sense because that's like how they like train some animals. Like they need like something to like certain sounds or commands for them to do something.
The woman in that sequence, that like antagonist we have for that middle of the movie, she reminds me of what Vanessa Kirby like dressed like in like Mission Impossible Fallout, and I'm like,
oh yeah, she had that same vibe. Yeah, same vibe.
Like it's weird that was kind of a trend there for a couple of years.
Yeah, and she's like the main antagonist of that last season of the Chaos Theory show, the Netflix show I mentioned earlier. Yeah, she's like the main antagonist of that show.
And she doesn't die in this, right? No, she just gets arrested.
No, she doesn't. No, you don't see what happens to her, but the show kind of shows you what happens to her afterwards.
Right. And we got the return of Barry in this sequence from the first movie.
Yeah.
Now under French intelligence.
The first black character to ever survive a Jurassic movie.
That's a crazy stat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you think about it, I'm like, holy crap, he's like the only dude, like the only like black character like that has a name that survived.
And now watching these movies like together, you like characters like Barry more. They kind of stick with you a little more while you're watching these movies. So when he did come in, it's like, oh, I remember you. Like, it was nice.
And especially he's in the show too, like I said, in Chaos Theory. So they even go more into like him trying to track that black market dealer lady down and everything in the show, because he meets the kids and they're like involved. Like their one friend's working with her, but she's like deep undercover, pretending to be like her friend and everything, like trying to help stop her like operation and everything.
There was some interesting like side characters in this. You have this lady pilot that Claire gets friendly with. I don't get it because the scene where Chris Pratt is on the motorcycle and he's getting chased by the raptors and he gets off the plane and she goes, still got it. And I'm like, still got what? I don't know you. I just met you.
Yeah, she's like the only character that feels like they really needed like someone like, I don't know, does Chris Pratt really know how to fly a plane? So they just needed someone to like get them to like point A to point B.
And it wouldn't have been too crazy if, you know, Owen Grady knew how to fly a plane. Like the guy could do everything.
Yeah, exactly. His military background and everything. Yeah. But oh well, like she didn't like bother me as a character. No. She was like, I wish they did more with her, like go more into her backstory.
Right.
I especially surprised the extended edition didn't do that at all.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking because I was like, man, I remembered like she was in the movie. I was like, what was even her connection to anything? But now she was just a black market pilot that would just deliver stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and then she felt bad for like the girl being like shipped off because she's just like, well, I'll deliver dinosaurs, but like human beings is like a whole different story.
That is human trafficking at that point. So that's
exactly. So that's like why she was very concerned about that.
That's a much bigger crime as well, even in this world.
Yeah, so she was just like very concerned about that. So you're like, you know what? That's fair. That is a good line to draw.
So we get back to Grant and Ellie, and they're going to, what's the name of Dobson's agency company? Biosyn. And I kept wanting to say InGen, but I'm like, we're not InGen anymore.
No, InGen's their rival.
Is InGen dead at this point?
I would think after like the park closed, they kind of like shut down, and Biosyn kind of like took. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like it's been like, that Biosyn kind of took over after like Jurassic World got shut down, because basically after that incident with the Indominus Rex, it basically shut the whole park down.
Yeah. And seeing the facility also where they transfer the animals in Pennsylvania, shout out.
Oh yeah. Yep.
As a fellow native of the state. Where do you think that is in Pennsylvania?
I'd probably somewhere in like the central like.
I was thinking Lancaster.
Lancaster for sure.
Yeah, it's just somewhere just with nothing.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like in like Clarion or Somerville, like where my grandfather lives.
Because where is Biosphere?
The Biosyn's like they were in Italy, like in the mountains of Italy, like in the north of North Italy.
Oh damn! So
that's how they got there so fast from Malta, because Malta's like an island off the coast of Italy. So,
and they meet Dobson's, I guess, assistant. Do we really know his role?
He was like his assistant, and he was into like taking down Dachshund and all that,
right?
And he actually voiced the water guy in Elemental. I found out.
Damn! All right. He's getting more work. Good for him. I like him. He was a really good character. I actually liked his character. He was like very informative, and I like his like exposition about like, oh, you see, like the dinosaurs are like way more accurate now. It's because like Biosyn found a way to make them more pure in their genetic code and everything. Like they break the code. They didn't have to fill in the gaps with like other animal DNA. I always found it so funny that Alan and Ellie had no idea he was like trying to help them.
Oh yeah, that was like it felt like really weird, but then it like I'm like, I guess it kind of makes sense. I don't know, but like it makes sense for the sake of the movie.
Alan was always like kind of like just not street smart. Like you could tell that man is just looking at fossils all day.
Yes, exactly. So he thought like Ian was just like their inside guy, but it just made sense. Like Ian had like also an inside guy.
Yeah, we see. Yeah, Ian's finally in the movie, and I said this in our Lost World review, where I think Ian Malcolm is way more like Ian Malcolm in this movie, where in Lost World he had to become like the main character rescuing his girlfriend.
Yeah,
and it didn't work character wise. This is Ian Malcolm. Like we are back to formula.
Yeah, no, he felt more like how he was in Jurassic Park than he was in like Lost World, because like Lost World he was supposed to be like, oh, I have to be the responsible adult out of like all these characters, so I gotta tell him what not to do on the island.
Putting him more in his element where he's, either helping them while he's doing something else or talking to them through an earbud. I think that's way better use of Ian Malcolm because that's where you could do the one-liners that people want to see from that character.
Yeah, exactly. Not to say in Lost World he didn't have any bad one-liners, but like still, like I think he felt more like what Ian would do rather than like in Lost World he was just like, okay, I gotta make sure like no one dies and like I gotta be like a responsible one because I had to lead this mission.
I love the line where Ellie says he slid into my DMs and Alan.
Oh yeah. Alan's like, wait, what? I'm like, no, straight up, like Malcolm had the hots for Ellie. Like he'd totally like start like, yeah, like he would totally do that.
I love years later, Alan is still butthurt about it too. Like when during the coffee making scene, he thinks Ian's just flirting with her and you could tell he's pissed off.
Yeah, and then the guy's like explaining like all the coffees they have. He's like, "What are you even talking about?"
The coffee guy was insane. Like Alan was clearly not paying attention to him. Like at the end there, and he was still naming types of milks he has. Like that guy was on something else more than caffeine.
Yeah, I swear. Like they gave him like they told him like just like list some coffees. I wonder if he just like went off script and just started saying naming stuff.
He committed. That guy was like, "This is my chance. I'm in Jurassic World."
He thought his scene was going to get cut too.
And in the lab, we gotta bring up the man of the hour for some people listening. Dr. Henry Wu is down bad in this movie. He looks
they give him the
terrible.
redemption. They give him they give him the redemption arc and like the grandma sweater and like the greasy hair.
It's so funny, like, because in Jurassic World 1, he's like, just comes off so evil with the turtleneck and everything.
Yeah, the turtleneck. He looks like a Bond villain.
And I remember just being so off put that they made Dr. Wu a redemption arc. I would have never saw that coming. I thought he was for sure gonna get his head ripped off by a T-Rex in this.
Yeah, one. I thought he was gonna die too. Like in the book, he dies. Like raptors like maul him to death in the book.
Yeah, like on Jurassic Park, right? Like in the first book.
Yeah, in the first book, like Michael Crichton killed him off. Like he just gets mauled to death.
It's insane. And when he's explaining to the clone girl like what the mistake he made and what he's trying to do, it is touching. Like it is the first like time Wu got to like explain why he does this, like for real, like it seemed. Yeah,
like his intentions weren't so nefarious.
Yeah. It seemed like that was going more. And this is like the dinosaur in this facility, the Alpha. So, and they brought in the T-Rex, so they're fighting on who the Alpha is, right?
Yeah, the Giganotosaurus and Rexy.
I didn't realize, like, that was, like, a whole thing, because it was kind of a one-off line, and I must have missed it in theaters or something. Because through this whole third act, the third act just kind of falls apart for me. Like, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot going on in it, and I find most of the set pieces in that part when they go to the facility are kind of cool, like Claire encountering the Therizinosaurus.
Yes.
Like, I love that they showed, like, herbivores can be just as dangerous as the carnivores. Oh, like, you saw, like...
Right.
Yeah,
so
you remember that one with the claws?
Only kills to kill, right? Like when it just
because it hated that the deer was in its territory. It's just like it bitch slapped the deer. It was just like get out of here. Like it was cool seeing like an herbivore actually be dangerous. Like you saw it was just eating berries. Like it didn't want to eat the deer. It just said like get out of here, deer. These are my berries. And then when it noticed Claire was around, I think it's actually like blind or like just can't see very well. And it was like basically like stalking Claire and trying to like get her out of her, get out of its territory. And then like I love that scene where she's under the water and it's like screaming at her.
Super well shot. Like that's a great scene.
Yeah, it's like one of my favorite scenes in that entire movie. That scene's just really good. I love that they just like, hey, herbivores can be scary too. Like they're not the gentle giants. They can be just as mean as the carnivores.
When she's getting out of the plane, I love her line delivery where Chris Pratt's like, "You need to get off this plane." She just goes, "What?"
Oh yeah, the Quetzalcoatlus just tears that plane apart.
Yeah, this sequence starts out so good because you have all that stuff with Claire, but I don't know. And then Ellie and Alan go down and they get samples from the bugs. All that's fine. Typical like heist
some like
type of stuff.
some goofy antics happening.
Yeah. And then we find out the assistant is actually wants to help them, and they meet up with Clone Girl. Then all the characters kind of just meet up, and then we have a group of like 7 characters, which was cool, but at the same time a little clunky. Like it was very cartoonish.
Yeah, but I didn't mind their dialogue exchange with each other after the whole Gigantorosaurus attack when like all the bugs are on fire. I actually love the scene where Malcolm picks up like the bug on the stick and he's like learning from his mistakes from the first movie, and like he just throws the torch in the dinosaur's mouth. I thought that was like the coolest thing ever. I was just like, I like cheered in the theater. I'm like, yeah.
The shot of when the clone girl was climbing up the ladder and the dinosaur just like has its whole like mouth on it. That's my favorite shot of the movie. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, that shot's really good. I loved how they explained her story better. Because in Fallen Kingdom, it just felt like it came out of nowhere and they just wanted to do some like weird twist. But I feel like I'm glad they explained like her mother. She's like the clone of her mother, and she like, you know, gave birth to her, and she was trying to cure like genetic diseases. And I'm like, okay, I like that. Like they explained that much better, and it made like Fallen Kingdom. It made me like Fallen Kingdom even more.
Yeah. Yeah. Two great Ian lines around this point in the movie where he says, Jurassic World, not a fan. And
oh yeah, he's giving a little jab at that.
And the other one was, you made a promise to a dinosaur.
Yeah, no, he's like straight up like what is this? Like he realizes it's getting a little ridiculous, but
it's straight up.
Even Dr. Grant was like, dude, wait, you communicate with raptors?
Yeah. It felt like they plucked him right from the 90s and like put him in here, and they're like, what's going on?
Exactly. I was thinking about Dachshund's like little freak out that he had in like the control room. That shit makes me laugh. Yeah, he's like hitting that like seat. I'm just like, I actually liked his conversation with Ian. Like Ian's like, you're like Prometheus and you're gonna get gored, you rat bastard, or whatever he said to him. I love that line.
And Dobson has the same death as his old partner Newman.
Yeah, no, I loved his death. Yeah. I loved how full circle it was.
I didn't think about.
But I love how he said to the. Yeah, no, that was like such a. I even thought to myself before going to the theater, I'm like, I hope Dachshund gets killed by a Dilophosaurus so badly. And I was when I heard that thing chirp, I'm like, yes. When he was stuck in like that little like elevator pod thing.
This movie's a lot more rewarding than I remember. Like a lot of franchises, like, you know, of course, you know, we've seen time and time again really fall off. Where this one, you know, for a lot of people did, but there's some really clever callbacks, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, it's not just giving Chewie a medal because, you know, Star Wars joke. Like this one actually, like, you have to be a real fan to notice a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of them too. My sister also noticed this like weird thing about Dachshund. Like, you know how he's like constantly like snacking a lot and playing with that like little DNA like thing?
Yeah.
My sister realized it's part of his character. Like him snacking is like him wanting he wants control of the food, and then him messing with the DNA is him having control of the genetic power.
And first time we see Dobson in the original movie is they're eating lunch.
Yeah. So like it was like an interesting thing my sister noticed. I'm like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. And then I like that conversation he has with his assistant where they're in the like they're tearing apart like the computer room, and he was asking him about like his intentions, and I like that like Dachshund said like he actually had good intentions like back in the day, like when he wanted to steal the DNA and everything. They even had the same Barbasol can. They actually show in the the animated show. They actually show how he finds it in the animated show.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like he wasn't at the park.
No, but there's an episode of the animated show where he goes to the island and he actually finds the can.
Wow, that's like finding Luke Skywalker's lightsaber moment. That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, how would he have found it?
Yeah, because he has it in his office. So remember, he like picks it up in the office and like puts it away. And back to that conversation he had with his assistant, he was like saying he had good intentions, and then he drops the line. I think this was only in the extended version. Quote me if I'm wrong, but he says like in this kind of like line of work and in this world, it's either be chomped, like be chomped or be chomped.
I think that was an added scene. So yeah, I was thinking about that scene. I'm like, oh, that brings some depth to his character. And, you know, his rival back in the day being John Hammond, where...
Yeah, exactly.
they both have interesting intentions, and John Hammond is for entertainment, and yeah, he wants to be a capitalist, but he wants to bring joy with this. And then you have Dobson, who is a little more, wants to actually bring some help, but at the same time doing it with dire intentions.
Yeah. So like he wants control of the whole food and everything, cause he makes bioengineered crops and everything. So he wants to control the world's food supply and have the monopoly on it and make money off of it. So that's why he's using the locust to eat all the other crops and not his own.
So did this climax work for you? Because honestly, when I first saw it, they get on the helicopter and they fly away, and I was kind of like, that's it?
I mean, they have the whole Rexy's there, and then the Giganotosaurus shows up, and they're like, this isn't about us. And the cool thing about that buildup is it makes more sense with the opening, because you saw the T-Rex in the past get killed by the Giganotosaurus, so it's kind of like that. Yeah. They have this beef from millions of years ago. Even though, fun fact, those two dinosaurs would have never met back in that time because they were in completely different regions.
I was about to say, it's all the dinosaurs in the first Jurassic Park aren't part of the Jurassic era, right?
No, mostly the Cretaceous period, if anything else.
Cretaceous Park doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't. There's even a crazy fact that T-Rexes could have lived closer to our era than they did to living with stegosauruses. That's how old the dinosaurs are. It's crazy to think about.
That is
weird. How many time was in between all those different periods.
Right. You gotta, of course, evolutions in that, conversation as well. Dinosaurs, I'm sure, were constantly evolving. 65 million years is a long fucking time, I'd say.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that flashback. That's the best opening ever. Despite them never a Giganotosaurus and a T-Rex would have never met. Despite that, it still made a good okay, this is how the climax is gonna go. They have this 65 million year beef with each other or whatever.
Honestly, explaining that, you kind of sold me on the climax now, because that opening scene is kind of pivotal. Because the climax makes no sense without it. It's
exactly. That's the reason why Colin Trevorrow explicitly said he was mad they cut that out. He said he would have been fine with anything else cut out, but that was the big thing he really wanted. And he even showed it to everyone that saw it at freaking Fast 9 for crying out loud.
Yeah, I completely forgot I even saw it before Fast 9 because it wasn't in the movie itself.
It never made the cut, and he was mad. That was the one scene he really wanted to make the cut, from what I remember in his interview.
That's crazy. You could tell there was a lot of studio interference in general. The fact that Alan, Ellie, and Ian are in this movie, they were trying to catch that, nostalgia wave hype.
Yeah, they wanted the nostalgia bucks, and, I was fine with them. They made sense.
I like them just being there, did they need to be there? Hell no. But I enjoy
Not exactly, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it was around the time where, Owen and Claire's characters were kind of, overstaying their welcome. I would have definitely, this new movie, if it was Chris Pratt is back, I don't think I would have cared all that much. I think those
I would have thought, I don't know, what more can you do with their characters? They've been through so much. They went to that island, they lived on that island, had to go back to that island, see that island get destroyed, and now has to go to a completely different island.
And that's been the constant issues with these movies. For Alan and Ian especially, what is this? They're the third or fourth time this has happened to them now.
Yeah, exactly. You have Ian being roped in by Hammond to go save his girlfriend.
Insane.
Then you have then you have Dr. Grant being kidnapped by William H. Macy and T. Leone to go find their kid.
All because Grant has no money again from an unknown.
Grant's broke as shit.
Also, I love Ellie kind of because we made that joke during Jurassic Park 3 review where we were talking about how they were really trying to make Alan Grant Indiana Jones, and Ellie, I love, has that
straight
line. In this movie, Ellie has that line, "Forget the hat." It was kind of
straight up Dr. Grant was trying. They were trying so hard for him to be the new Indiana Jones.
Especially when you hear about the Jurassic Park 4 stuff that never happened. They wanted Alan and Ian to reunite. They were gonna make him a fucking action star in that movie.
Oh, for sure. I had a feeling I could have saw Dr. Grant literally fist fighting a human dinosaur monster on top of a building or something.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we've dissected the movie. Let's go into the Ace Awards. This is always everybody's favorite part. Who is the biggest Dino Diva Award winner? Which dinosaur absolutely stole the show?
Maybe the Giga, but the Giga wasn't in the movie too much.
Yeah.
I also love that Colin Trevorrow said like the Giga was supposed to be like the Joker of dinosaurs, and all it was just being a dinosaur. I'm like, I don't see where the Joker vibes show up, but sure.
Oh my god, I never knew that. That's the Joker dinosaur.
Yeah, he says like it just hates everyone. And it's just like, dude, it's just acting like a normal dinosaur would.
He goes up to Ian and he's like, "You're right. We do live in a society."
In a society.
The dinosaur's only in one scene, but God, I love that. I'm gonna call it a bulldog dinosaur.
Oh, the Lytrosaurus? I agree. The Lytrosaurus.
Especially in the extended edition, it made it even better. He's got the best kill scene of the movie. I love that
little
dude.
guy's my hero. Yeah, no, I'll give it to him.
You had one job award. Which human character messed up the most? Probably.
I think we already said it was Macy, the clone girl.
All she had to do was avoid a bridge.
Yeah, she literally didn't have to go down that bridge, and she gets kidnapped. I also love that scene where the dude throws her bike in the river.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
Even the scene where with the construction workers, like they tried to make that the clone girl was like, oh, she's smart and has this like intelligent spirit. I'm like, she knew traffic signals. Cool. I
mean, yeah, I do like that scene, but in general, yeah, I mean, she's not supposed to be there, but she was being pretty helpful but still, she still got kidnapped.
The Sweetest Moment Award, best heartwarming or cute moment amid all the chaos.
Oh. Maybe Ellie seeing that Triceratops in Pennsylvania.
Yes, that's
like the little baby Triceratops. I like the practical effects in that.
I'm gonna be real, and maybe it's because I just watched these movies like all together. When Owen Grady looks at Blue at the end and they have their little head nod, it's a little it's a little emotional when you watch them all like together. It's like these two characters have been through a lot together.
Yeah, no, that was pretty good too. I love Blue and Owen's relationship.
Yeah, maybe it's because
just like a good man and beast bond. I love it.
I was about to say I'm a big dog person. I'm a big man's best friend.
Yeah, me too.
So it is always like dog movies always get me. So I think that's the connection there as well.
For sure. I think that was a pretty good moment as well.
Yeah, that was good years. And I also just liked when Ellie and Alan were talking and he's like, you want a beer? And she's like, maybe not at 10 a.m. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
And they finally kiss at the end, which was huge. If like you've been
that's crazy because like you always thought they were gonna end up together and then 3 they didn't, which at first bothered me. Then I realized, no, it kind of makes sense. They kind of went their separate ways. But like now that they met up and she's divorced, she's kind of like very career driven and everything. And Alan's kind of like, I'm trying to like,
Alan,
get my,
and
Alan's trying to
broke out of his shell. He's like, I'll travel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Alan's just still like this old miserable guy. And then he's like, yeah, no, I just break out of my shell and everything.
It definitely showed more growth in these characters, which I want in these, soft reboot sequel trilogies that getting. It's my biggest gripe with like the Halloween franchise where like what did everybody learn?
Nothing.
The That Didn't Age Well award, what part of the movie feels awkward, weird, or outdated now? I don't know. This movie's only 2 years old.
Yeah, this movie's not even that old, so it's like...
You know what bugged me at the time? It was about, even though it was a famine, but it had that pandemic type thing, and at the time we all just wanted to escape from that. It doesn't bother me as much now, but I think that's why maybe the bug things were kind of like more annoying to people at the time.
Yeah, I guess so, because they were causing like something really terrible, and people were like, I don't want to be reminded of like being locked up or not being able to do something.
A lot of stuff now has kind of aged well, where I don't want to get too crazy into it, of course, but how Owen and Claire, essentially adopted this clone girl that technically belong to the government, but should have basic human rights like everyone else. There's a lot of conversations about that right now, so that kind of aged well, actually.
Yeah, and especially, she made the point in Fallen Kingdom where she's freed all the dinosaurs because she's like, they deserve to live. She's like, they're alive like me.
Right.
So, like, they even, like, touched upon in the first Jurassic World where, like, Hoskins, Vincent D'Onofrio's character said, like, genetically engineered animals don't have rights and all that, so.
And I always loved Owen's response where, well, they're not extinct anymore. Like.
Yeah. I always thought that was some good banter between them.
This whole trilogy, those heavy themes that I loved about the first movie, they do bring back in these movies way better than both Lost World and Jurassic 3.
Yeah, I agree. They really show like how genetic power is like dangerous and we should not mess with it. And I especially think Rebirth's going to touch upon that as well.
Yeah.
Especially with these mutant dinosaurs they've been showing in the trailers. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to see some freakish abominations that were not supposed to be alive. Like these things were a mistake.
The Make It a Video Game Award, what scene would make the best video game level? There's a couple of good ones
probably the chase in Malta with the motorcycle and the raptors.
I was thinking that one. There was something else that also came to my mind. Oh, when they're in the cave with all the dinosaurs. I think.
Oh yeah, with the Dimetrodons. Yes. Fun fact: they're not actually a dinosaur.
Really? Was they like a
a
lizard hybrid? Were they like a reptile?
They're more close. I think I've heard they are closer related to mammals than they are to like actual like dinosaurs. It's kind of crazy.
Is there like a animal on Earth right now that pertain to them?
I forget, but I know they're more closely related to mammals because Dimetrodons existed like in the first like not the Cretaceous. It was like I think the Triassic period is when they existed. Like even before like most dinosaurs were like forming. Like they're like super old.
That scene was terrifying.
I love that scene. I love Dr. Grant's scream. Dr. Grant's scream is the best part. He's like,
that was like the first time in a while those movies, like one of these movies really got me. I was like, I would be, I'd shit my pants. This is scary. The
Dr. Grant's scream was the best part.
That one would also make a really good theme park ride. Like you ever go on the Snow White ride in Disney World?
I have not actually, but it would make a good dark ride for sure.
It's like it reminds me of the Snow White ride where it's a terrifying dark ride for some reason, and I think this would do this.
Like the Winnie the Pooh ride too.
Yes.
I heard the Winnie the Pooh ride's like oddly scary for like a Winnie the Pooh ride.
The Winnie the Pooh ride feels like if you ever like smoke too much weed and you get really anxious. That's how I feel on the Winnie the Pooh ride.
I need to go on it at some point in my life.
Like, I don't know. I just feel uneasy, and then all of a sudden we're bouncing with Tigger, and I'm like, I don't know. And finally, the most rewatchable scene award. That moment you'll rewind again and again.
Maybe the chase scene. Mm-hmm. I would think, or no, Malcolm throwing the torch into the dinosaur's mouth was kind of awesome.
Yeah, and then the dinosaur essentially breathes fire when he opens his mouth.
It like burps the fire. It's kind of great.
Like straight up Godzilla type. No, that's great.
It's just cool seeing Ian learn from his mistakes. Like.
Yes.
From like the first movie, like he remembers he like baited the T-Rex and he ended up getting injured, but now he's like, no, I learned from a mistake, so he like went about that situation a lot better.
And before we give out our letterbox scores, what are your thoughts going into this new one? We're doing Jurassic June because in anticipation for Jurassic World Rebirth. What are you hopeful for? What are your expectations?
I am hopeful that they'll use these new mutant dinosaurs in Rebirth like. Mm-hmm. Great, because I think they're going to be great antagonists, especially like the regular dinosaurs too. But I'm hoping they like go into like deep, like how they were made and stuff like that. Like I hope we know like something about them, like why it went wrong. And
I want the human hybrids. Fingers crossed.
Human hybrids. Maybe we'll get that in the if it does well. Maybe they'll do a Rebirth 2 and have the human hybrids.
Scarlett
Johansson's just shooting like human dinosaur men in like the sewers of like New York City or something.
Dude, imagine if we get Scarlett Johansson dinosaur woman. Like,
oh my god, like Scarlett Johansson gets dinosaur powers.
If Rebirth gets a third movie, that's what it will be. Like if we get a trilogy out of this. It's I just read it's on track to make $100 million opening weekend. So
yeah, I'm sure it will. Like
yeah.
Jurassic movies have always done very well in the box office.
Especially 4th of July weekend, like
Oh yeah.
a lot of families are going to be seeing this. I'm excited for it. I don't want these movies to end, even if I'm not the biggest Dominion fan. I left it.
I love dinosaurs, man. I'll go see it.
Literally, like it's one of those franchises where it's keep it coming, and the lore doesn't stop getting interesting. I didn't know how I was going to feel when Jurassic World literally became Jurassic World, like dinosaurs living amongst the humans. But it's an interesting tactic. But now Rebirth is going to have a time jump. I wonder if have a lot of the dinosaurs been extinct? I feel like that's what they're hinting around.
Yeah. It's like Rebirth is they're trying to like help the dinosaurs essentially, and like help other people that are being affected by it or something like that.
It's it's going to be interesting.
They're trying to find cure for diseases or something. It seems like
we're in uncharted territory when it comes to this. We already did the sequel trilogy, right? So what happens next?
Yeah,
like truly,
like I'm glad it's like a whole new cast and everything. Yes. Like that's what I'm excited about.
It's a cast that I like too. Scarlett Johansson, of course, and the dude's guy,
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, Mahershala Ali, and the guy from Wicked, who's really good.
I think his name. What was his name? Bennett? No,
I forget now. His name in the movie is Dr. Loomis. What do you think the connection?
Yeah, it is Dr. Loomis. I wonder if that was unintentional, if it was supposed to reference Halloween or not.
I think I pointed this out in the 3 review. Maybe the movie will kind of be, shot and set up like a slasher movie. That'd be kind of cool. Because
it seems like, man, that shot where you saw Mahershala Ali light the flare and you see the mutant in the silhouette. Like, if you saw, like, look at that shot. Tell me that there's, like, look at that thing and tell me that there's a god. Like, that seems terrifying. Like, that is, like, a terrifying shot.
Now, to tie this all with a bow, with Dominion, what would you give this movie on Letterboxd?
Out of 5 stars, maybe like 3.5.
Yeah, I honestly, when I first saw Dominion, I think I gave it 1.5 stars. Like, this movie didn't work for me at all. This was a much better rewatch. I did not think it was gonna like go like higher in my rankings, but this is probably I might just give it a 3. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think the extended version pads it a lot better.
It definitely does. It fixed the climax for me. My biggest issue was with I didn't understand the climax, and it's Jurassic Park. I should. That's why I'm there.
Yeah, dinosaurs fighting. That's all you need to know. But like, it's just the opening was like, look, they have all this millions of years of beef, and it just makes sense that they go at each other at this point.
It's going to be one of the biggest twists, I think, when people are watching this movie, because the lead up to this, I've been really, digging the grave of Dominion, and not that I was regretting watching it again, but I just remember disliking it. But no, and especially chatting with you being kind of the lore expert here. I think, when I revisit this again, I might like it even more,
That's another thing I noticed at the end of Dominion, when you see like Rexy at the sanctuary in like Italy, you saw 2 other T-Rexes. Those are the parents from Lost World. It's the buck and the doe T-Rex.
Damn. I wanted to ask you a quick lore question. What happened to Site B as of right now?
I don't know off the top of my head, but most of the dinosaurs got pulled off of there.
Okay.
And actually, the Spinosaurus is in the cartoon, in the animated show on Netflix. The Spinosaurus actually shows up.
Oh, damn. So confirm then the Spinosaurus left the Site B then. That's interesting, because we were talking about that during Jurassic Park 3.
Because there's like another company that's also a rival to Biosyn and, I guess, InGen. It's called Manticore. It's only in the show. It's never ever mentioned in the movies.
Right.
But Manticore had like the Spinosaurus on this other secret island they had or something.
All these secret islands.
And the kids like encounter it and stuff. It's like crazy.
It's so funny. The lore's expansive. Would love to have you back on soon, man. Maybe when Rebirth comes out, I'll probably do a solo review, but I definitely want to do a deep dive on that movie at some point once we know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Stuff. I might go see it multiple times in theaters. I want to see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
I saw Dominion at least twice in theaters, and then like again on extended version of my my 4K copy of it.
But sweet Ben, anything you want to plug? I'm not sure if you have anything if you want to.
Oh, that's about it. Like, I mentioned the animated show's good if you want to check it out on Netflix. I think it gets better each season.
All you Jurassic fans out there, don't forget about Jurassic Park shit posting. We got to bring it back for Rebirth.
Oh, it probably will come back for Rebirth. I guarantee it.
But thank you, Ben. This was a lot of fun. And yeah, this was the finale to Jurassic June. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my Rebirth review in July. We got some more exciting things on your way, but this was very fun. This was a fun little project I got to do here on the pod and on the YouTube channel. And yeah, like the video, leave a comment what your favorite Jurassic movie is, or tell me your rankings, actually. I guess I'll do an official rankings at some point as well. But yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna change my rankings as I see Rebirth, and don't push any Rebirth spoilers or anything.
Yeah, no Rebirth spoilers. But yeah, thanks again, and I will see you all in the next podcast. I still don't have an outro.